I thought I'd come on and tell you what the ordeal was with Mike. This is Mike right here. And this is Mrs. Ike. I heard a ruckus outside the window. And, well, you know, the rabbits get kind of rambunctious sometimes, and they jump over that stick, and, you know, they make some noise. So I really didn't think anything about it. But the noise just kept up, and so I came outside, and there was this husky dog sitting in front of the door. Well, I don't do other people's dogs very well. So I was trying to get the dog off the porch, and I had not even noticed that Mike's cage was knocked completely over, and he was gone. And I was just simply devastated. So I finally shooed the dog off the porch, and he ran full speed down my driveway. And just seconds later, Mike was screaming, and he was running for his life. There's a man down the road, and he was carrying a leash. So I knew that he was probably hunting down his husky. And so I yelled at him that his dog was chasing my rabbit. Well, Mike ended up running across the street trying to find some shelter and a safe place to be. Well, in the meantime, the man's trying to get his dog to come back to him. And so the dog was kind of running away from the owner. And I kept looking over in that direction where Mike had gone. But I couldn't see any evidence of him over there. And I figured he was probably just hiding. There were lots of places in the neighbor's yard that he could get under for safety and to hide. In the meantime, I called John because I knew that he was on his way home. And John said I sounded pretty hysterical. And he kept asking me what I was saying. So the only thing clear that was coming out of my mouth, whoops, was dog and Mike. So when he came home, he didn't find me because I went ahead and walked across the street. When John got home, he was pretty upset. And by that time, the owners had caught up with the dog. John walked around, I don't know, it seemed like an hour or so, around a few blocks that he could have ran to because poor Mike was still scared and heck, he'd never been out in the grass or anything on his own. So we didn't know where Mike was at. So I sat on the porch until almost dark, just praying that God would let Mike come home and that he would be safe. What are you guys doing? So when I got up the next day, I was crying and praying again that I could at least see a glimpse of him and that he was alive. I must have sat out on the porch 5 or 6 hours just kind of scanning the area. And one thing that I knew was that Mike had to be over there, had to be over at the neighbor's house. Because when they had caught the husky, he kept running back to the neighbor's house and sniffing around like he was looking for Mike. And so, I don't know, I was pretty confident that Mike was over there somewhere. But I just wanted some proof that he was alive. Well, I decided to go in the house, and about that time, John came home from work, and he came in and he said, "I seen Mike." I jumped up, I grabbed some carrots, and out the door I went. John had seen his butt under the neighbor's van. And so that was the first place we went, was to look under the van. And he wasn't there. And I got up, and then I turned around and I looked, and he was in the other neighbor's yard by a tree. And it was kind of funny, actually. I would take a step and he would make one little hop around the tree, you know, just one little step. And get a little closer, and I'd just call on his name, you know, just like I always do. And I'd sit here and their cages are wide open, and I just talk to them, and they do just fine. But anyway, so I'm talking to Mike and just telling him, "Come here." And he decided, a little turd, to run over into the thorny rose bushes that the neighbors have over there. And, well, I walked over there and looked, and I told him he needed to get out of there, and he needed to come home. And so he kind of did. He went out, but then he kind of ran a little bit faster than what I could follow. And we thought maybe if we came back and got Mrs. Ike, that maybe he would come back to us easier, but we didn't need that. It was amazing. So Mike had gone down that little driveway there and out onto the sidewalk, and he was about to that tree, that first tree, and I just cried out to the Lord for Mike just to be easy to catch and to come home. Well, it was just so amazing. Mike turned around and he looked at me, and I said, "Come on, Mike, let's go home." And he started hopping my way, and I thought maybe he was just gonna tease me and get close and run away. But you know what? He walked right up to my feet and stopped. And I was able to pick him up and bring him home. Is that right, Mike? And Mike is not a little rabbit. He's a big rabbit. I picked him up, and I was just holding him, and I was crying, and I didn't want to upset him. And so John come running over there, and we still had Ike in the cage, and he had the cage anyway. So see how big Mike is. And I forget where I'm at. Oh, so then we get him in the cage, and we bring him home, and it was just miraculous how God just let him turn around and come to me. Now, I don't know why I'm this upset, but the memory of of his ordeal. Because, you think about things, something getting him in the night. And we have cats around here that eat rabbit and squirrels and different things like that. And I was just afraid for him. And remember, I had told my mom and my son, and just a few people, my brother, my big brother, and he said, well, good luck. And I said, no, I don't want luck. I want God to bring him home. And as you can see, he did. Now, for the first 2 days, we actually got them new pens. These are giant pens compared to the other ones we had them in. But he would sit over there in that corner and he wouldn't eat or drink. So we kind of moved the water bowl over to him, and he was able to drink that way when we got him back. And anyway, he's just running all over the cage now, and he seems real happy. And they both like them lids, if you're wondering why we have those lids in there. And they just love to sprawl out on it and relax, and it's cool. Isn't it, Mrs. Ike? There's silly mosquitoes everywhere. So you guys, that's my story of Mike and what caused me to be so sad. I was just so happy that he was home. They don't like loud noises, so I was kind of weary about that when, that he would get scared off by loud noise. Yeah, that old mosquito got you, didn't it? Well, Mike, come say goodbye. Mike! He's happy to be home. He does eat and drink, and he does potty and where he's supposed to, and Mrs. Ike is doing really well. I think she actually missed him as well, because all she did was laid around when he was gone, and didn't move and do anything. So anyway, I'm just glad to have them both safe. Oh, there's a bug in there. There you go, Mrs. Ike. I got that bug out of there. Yes, I did. Now we are going to make Mike a porch, because in the old pen there was a landing here, and he would always come out, and that's where we'd have our little talks. And I think they're going to really like these cages. They seem to both have taken to them now, and we still got to work out a few things about catching their potty, but all in all, it's okay. But you guys, I heard a lot of ruckus on the porch. And when I come out, there was a dog on the porch tearing up Mike's cage. I yelled at him to get off my porch. And Mike must have got down on the ground because the dog took off into my backyard or a side yard to chase him. And you could hear Mike screaming. I hollered at that man and told him his dog is hurting my rabbit. But he was out trying to find him already. He's way down there, the owner is. But the dog keeps circling back into the neighbor's street because Mike went across there. John's not home yet. So after John drove up, I went ahead and walked across the yard to the other side of the road, and there's several areas that Mike could get in there to hide that the dog couldn't, but the cat could. And among all the things that made it kind of scary and horrifying was poor Mike was just a screaming, and I couldn't help him. So I walked around over there a little bit, and he's either going to have the feast of his life because there's all kinds of good grub on the ground that he can eat over there. Or he's just not going to come home. God, you know I love my rabbit. Please bring him home safe. And I'm going to pray this in your name, God. Amen. I just keep looking around, trying just to catch a glimpse of him. Are you doing okay, Mrs. Ike? Doing okay? Mrs. Ike, you need to tell Mike that it's okay. He can come home now. Yeah. Tell him, say it's okay, it's safe. Come home now. Hey, the neighbor brought over a live trap, and he wanted to have some of Mike's food in there. So he's going to just set it up in his backyard somewhere and hope that Mike will come and eat it, since that's what he eats. And anyway, he said we'll either have a rabbit or a raccoon in the morning. I guess he has raccoons. That didn't make my heart feel very good. So knowing that they have raccoons can be vicious. I don't know if they're meat eaters though. Anyway, I'm pretty calm now. And I am, considering the way I was before. We just have to pray and accept how the prayer is answered, and know that I know that God knows I'm hurting. And He cares. There's that dog, he's a Husky. Well, John got here and he's really upset. But I think he's more upset because I'm so sad now. We're going to check the camera after a little bit and see exactly how that went down. You could hear Mike just yelling when that dog was chasing him. But there's a neighbor's cat that I worry about, and because it's vicious. I mean, it's pretty nice to some people. He's just a stray cat that everybody kind of takes care of. I don't feed it or water it, but anyway, we got to worry about for her because people don't feed her, and she goes for prey. And I've seen her tear up a squirrel and a bird, and she can probably do a lot of damage to Mike. And she can get to Mike wherever he's hiding right now. I think he's probably gonna hide for a while, because I do believe he's alive, because that dog kept circling around and going to the same area. So anyway, say a little prayer with me, because I've been praying